Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to brand new video. Gonna be diving into the latest around Arsenal. It's the 25th of December. It's Christmas, and a lot of updates are happening on this Christmas day. Like, journalists don't just rest, all right? So, Cody Gakpo has told PSV Eindhoven that he will be leaving in January. Manchester United and Arsenal are the two clubs trying to sign him, and we hope it's going to be a 40 to 45 doable deal. We'll be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Alex Bernard update on Joao Felix. He says the deal is actually in the final stages. Both Manchester United still and Arsenal have been talking to George Mendes, the agent of Joao Felix, and there is positive thoughts, there is positive energy that this deal is actually coming to an end. Joao Felix will have to choose between Arsenal and Manchester United. The better deal is where the player will go. We'll talk about Rafa Leao's comments on the Premier League and Arsenal. Graham Souness thinks Arsenal should sign Alexis McAllister and not Yuri Tillemans. I'll tell you why. And lastly, Arsenal could sign a left back or a left centre back actually in this coming January transfer window. Hit the like button for me for Christmas. Let's make this one a 500 liked video. Just subscribe to the podcast as well so that by next year we are at 61,000 subscribers. I want to say Merry Christmas. I want to say thank you so much for supporting this podcast right from day one to this time when we celebrate the third Christmas that we have actually celebrated together, and the family has grown and everything has actually changed. I don't remember where we were. I think it was different. It was absolutely different. So if you've been part of this journey right until now, thank you so much. And if you've actually just joined us, maybe this year, maybe last year, again, thank you so much and continue supporting the podcast. You can comment below in the comment section what you would love us to change, and then definitely we'll be doing that for you. But the big story today on Christmas that will actually accompany your meal very well comes in from Alexis Bernard, and he actually says that this is an exclusive. Negotiations for Joao Felix are at the final stages. The rest is between Arsenal and Manchester United for his signature. PSG, who have been front runners or dubbed as front runners, are actually not interested in the player. Okay, that is according to Alex Bernard, confirming that one, we've had negotiations with George Mendes, the agent of the player, and number two, the negotiations are now at the final stages. Man United and Arsenal will have to be the two clubs that he chooses between, because PSG are actually not in the race. Now, this is what I can confirm from Fabrizio Romano. He also confirmed yesterday that there have been negotiations between Arsenal and George Mendes. There have also been negotiations between Manchester United and George Mendes. So I think George Mendes works in a way that if his player or client is actually unhappy at a particular club, he actually talks to other clubs and then tries to find a solution. It's something he has done with Cristiano Ronaldo. It's something he's done with Jose Mourinho, and it's something he's doing with Joao Felix right now. I mean, he just loves Portuguese players and clients, doesn't he? But the point here is negotiations are at the final stage between who and who. I think that's the biggest question. Are they at the final stage between Arsenal and Atletico Madrid? I highly doubt that. Are we in the final stages of negotiations between us and George Mendes? I think that is where the point is. And for me, I want to see what's going to happen. I really, really want to see what's going to happen in the next 48 hours or in the next 72 hours of this deal. I think it might go to Manchester United because in the end, all sources are saying it's going to be the structure of the deal. It's going to be the club that actually puts the better deal on the table that will actually sign him. That is why I think it might in the end be Manchester United. I think they will want to replace Cristiano Ronaldo for good, permanently. And they will also have the money to replace Cristiano Ronaldo in January. Because you look at the previous summers, they've not really spent enough money. They've not spent at the magnitude that Arsenal have actually been spending. So they'll be able to match his salary, which is 230k per week. The reason they have offloaded almost £500,000 per week for Cristiano Ronaldo. So I think United are in a better position to sign Joao Felix. But if we want to win the title, and I said this yesterday, there are risks we have to take. There are ambitious moves that we have to make. And one of them is going for a player like Joao Felix, paying his wages, full wages, that is £230,000 per week, €280,000 per week, and then see how it actually happens, okay? So I'll be letting you know what happens. The deal is in the final stages between us and Man United and Job Mendes. The player will have then to choose between Arsenal and Manchester United. It is highly likely that he chooses Manchester United, okay? I think the influence of Bruno Fernandes as well, probably there, could be another factor. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to speculate on this one. I just want to report it the way it has been reported, that the deal is at the final stages. The negotiations are in the final stages, and the player now will have to choose between Manchester United and Arsenal. Atletico Madrid are open to selling. They're open to loaning him out as well in January to a Premier League club. They got no problems with that, as long as there is no option to buy and as long as there is no obligation to buy as well. And then the player must be paying, the club must be paying full wages for the player. Kind of a little bit of, ridiculous, but we can work with that, all right? Now, the next story comes in again from a player that we actually want, and that is Cody Gakpo. And this one is a massive story. And I'm going to tell you why it's a massive story for Arsenal. Okay, so the representatives of Cody Gakpo and the player as well have told PSV Eindhoven that they will be leaving the Dutch Eredivisie side in January for around 40 to 45 million euros. Now, the players already told them that I want to move on. I want to go. Manchester United has been leading the race to sign Cody Gakpo for some time now. Arsenal are also interested for some time in the summer, but it looks like Man United have been front runners in this deal. So this is my thinking. There is no way Man United are going to sign Cody Gakpo and Joao Felix. It is one or the other. And for me, this is where Arsenal have to fill in the gaps. If Man United go for Cody Gakpo, they sign him, we go for Joao Felix. If they take Joao Felix, if they sign Joao Felix, we sign Cody Gakpo. Now, sources around PSV and this deal are increasingly confident it will be done in the region of 40 to 45 million euros. My understanding is that Manchester United have sent in an initial bid, which could be around 35 million euros. That bid has been turned down by PSV, who want more money. The evaluation in the player is around 60 to 65 million euros. I do understand, according to reliable sources close to Manchester United and the deal. But there is also confidence that the deal can be done for 40 to 45 million euros. So these are two deals that I think will ultimately and definitely happen in January. The question is, where do we go from here? I mean, who are Arsenal going to sign on these two? Is it going to be Cody Gakpo? Is it going to be Joao Felix? If you honestly asked me, Cody Gakpo is the better deal. 40 to 45 million euros. Gakpo plays as a 9. Gakpo plays as a left winger. Gakpo plays as a right inverted winger. He can also play anywhere you want him to play on that pitch. Very quick, very fast, very young, value for money. And I think it's going to be a Ballon d'Or winner. It's going to be among the Ballon d'Or names we'll be talking about in the next 3, 4, 5 years. And I said this is going to also come down to how the Dutch and how the Netherlands actually market him as a talent, because every country right now, German are marketing Musiala, France are marketing Mbappe, and Saliba. The English are marketing Saka and Foden. Every country is marketing their talents. If they can market Gakpo, if they can give him all the hype, trust me, this guy could be one of the Ballon d'Or winners, and you guys will actually say Cossy called it, all right? So I think Gakpo is the better deal, in my opinion, right? 40 to 45 million euros, that is a bargain. For a player of his talent, for a player of his abilities and assets, that is an absolute steal. That is an absolute bargain. But this is what I think about these two deals. I think Cody Gakpo will end up at Manchester United under Erik ten Hag, a manager that he feels will understand him, a manager that he thinks actually understands his style of play, okay? And then Joao Felix will end up at Arsenal. only if Arsenal want him, because it's about that, right? We might have had negotiations, but are we willing to stretch the deal to the expectations and desires of the player? So if Arsenal are willing to die for this guy, if Arsenal are willing to table all the right amounts of money to sign Joao Felix, he will end up at Arsenal, and then Cody Gakpo will end up at Manchester United. It doesn't mean that we've got the worst deal, but it means we are getting a player who we will actually not have an option to sign come this summer. So we cannot make the deal permanent, and that is what actually troubles me, okay? That is the only problem with that deal. Now, Rafa Leao was also speaking about Arsenal as well as the Premier League. He was asked what he thinks about the Premier League and clubs that he would love to play for in the Premier League, and he said the Premier League as a league right now is something I look up to. I would love to play there one day. I would love to maybe have some time in one of the best leagues in Europe right now. But then he says he's focused on AC Milan right now, and he's actually not thinking about going anywhere else. But when he was asked about the clubs that actually interest him the most in the Premier League, clubs that he would love to play for, he said Manchester City play very, very good football, but I like Arsenal. I like the way they play. They play very, very good football. So Rafa Leao, amidst his contract situations and all that, talking about Arsenal, I kind of problems with him. He's a very, very cool guy, very huge talent. If there is a player that I would sign without thinking twice, in any window, it's Rafa Leao. He's so good. I followed him at AC Milan for some time, and I think he's the epitome of wingers. It's the epitome. It's what you want in a winger. Very calm, very, very composed, very confident, and his success rate on dribbles and take-ons of defenders is absolutely ridiculous. But I don't think he's going to leave AC Milan very, very soon. I'm sorry to ruin your Christmas. I don't think he's going to leave Milan very soon. Now, he has a few issues when it comes to his contract situations and the club that actually sold him to Milan, I think. But I think that one can eventually be resolved. Milan just have to pay some kind of money to his former club, I think around maybe 5, maybe 6 million euros, and then they give him a new deal, and then he will actually be all right. So Rafa Leao, I don't see him leave AC Milan right now. Probably in 2025 or 2026. That is when I see Rafa Leao as a huge, transfer prospect. But for now, I think Milan are still alright. Okay, look, they have got the tendency of blowing contracts. AC Milan, Frank Kessié, that is a contract blown. And you ask yourself, how do they even do that? Hakan Çalhanoğlu, that's a contract blown. And you're like, how do they even do this? How do they let some of the best talents in the world go? Gigi Donnarumma, contract blown. Like, they just struggle to find negotiation terms for new contracts with their players. But I think with Rafa Leao, he respects the club. They've done a lot for him. They've made him the player he is. I don't expect him to leave anytime very soon. But it's good that he talked about Arsenal. It's good that he actually recognized that we are a club that really play very, very good football, and he would love to play for us someday. Like, maybe someday. Now, Graham Souness at TalkSport says that Arsenal should not sign Youri Tielemans. Arsenal should sign Alexis McAllister. And the reason behind his words is that Alexis McAllister is an all-round player, a player who can defend very well, a player who can attack very well, a player who works hard, and a player who actually does not have that kind of, royal feeling, I think, around himself. I think most of the players that we've seen in the Premier League actually do have that kind of royal, especially talented players. They have that royal, prejudice around them. McAllister is another player. Let me tell you something, right? I didn't think Alexis McAllister was an Argentine. I didn't think he came from Argentina. I thought his roots were like English, Wales, or even Scottish. This guy works so hard. This guy is a blessing of a talent. So Graham Souness says that right now there is very little risk attached to signing Alexis McAllister, and he says he can create, he can score, he works his socks off. The type of player that are very, very hard to find. I think one of the players I've seen in this kind of caliber is Morgan Schneiderlin. He was still at Southampton by then. Morgan Schneiderlin was a beast of a player, okay? But then we've seen a couple of other players that are actually very, very good in terms of working their socks off. So what do you think? McAllister for Tielemans? Maybe I still feel like Tielemans is a very, very talented guy, to be honest. I still feel like Tielemans is a very, very talented lad. But McAllister, again, if you played him in that 10 role, if you played him in that number 8 role, the difference in quality doesn't drop. Actually, there is no difference in quality between him and Xhaka, because they work hard, they score, they create, and they are very, very lovely players to have. So Arsenal, lastly, Arsenal could have a left centre-back coming in January. There is a thought that Mikel Arteta is a little bit scared that if Gabriel Magalhaes picks up an injury, then we might have a crisis at the back. So he would love to sign someone, but for me, this is kind of a panic. It's kind of a panic. We do have Tomiyasu in those areas. I really don't think we should panic to bring in a left-footed centre back. We could do that in the summer, all right? Just for me to have content to create about in the summer. Just for me to have content, just that. Okay, so Merry Christmas, guys. Hit the like button. I don't know what you're gonna be eating. I don't know what you're gonna be doing. I don't know how you're going to spend your Christmas, but hit the like button. I'm coming with my preview. I'm coming with my particular lineup later on the channel. So make sure you watch those videos because they're going to be very important for us tomorrow. Don't forget, we are still on top of the table and we are still the club to beat. See you in a bit.